It's the end of another year and time to look back. I reviewed a grand total of 74 games across the year of 2022, and I wanted to do what I did last year, going back to handpick the top 10 games reviewed that year. Now there will be some rules. This is going to be games released in 2022 that I reviewed, not just games that I played the most. Otherwise, these 3 games right here would be on the list, only one of which was a 2022 release. We're also not counting hardware reviews, DLC reviews, or updates that have come to games that released before 2022. So no Arc, Skyrim Anniversary, or Steam Deck. Now let's begin with saying that it was very difficult to make this list. There were way more than 10 Switch games I reviewed this year that I absolutely loved. Tons of runner-ups from Chrono Cross, House of the Dead Remake, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and the list goes on. Not that those games aren't great in and of themselves, they just didn't have as much of an impact as the games I chose. Now that that's out of the way, let's dive right in. These will be in alphabetical order, not best to worst. First up is Atelier Sophie 2. This was a special game of the franchise to me. Sophie was my favorite protagonist of the Atelier franchise, and seeing her get a proper sequel instead of just being a side character not really there for most of the game and the other mystery games really made me excited. It's also one of the best Atelier games for the Switch, with really good optimization and a nice little meld between the mystery element gameplay mechanics and all of the new exploration and modern stuff from the Ryza games. Number 2 is Corpse Factory. This visual novel was a great experience, not just a game. It had such an out there story that went to so many places I didn't expect in really dark and horrific ways. When I play a visual novel and the whole story just stays with me and lingers long past finishing the game, I experienced something pretty great. Even just booting it up to record a couple clips for this video gave me a lot of really strong feelings and chills just watching the music intro again. It left that much of an impression on me. Number 3 is the more recent remake or remaster of Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. Not only is it optimized very well for the Switch, but it overhauled the original game in a lot of great ways. It modernized the combat to be less repetitive and created a beautiful visual presentation. Even if the recast voice actors didn't do a great job here, it's a great little action RPG for fans of Final Fantasy VII. Next up is number 4, LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Many people have criticized this huge game for having each movie far shorter than the original LEGO Star Wars games, but it's still a blast to play through with the more modern over-the-shoulder shooting mode and being able to track through the prequels, originals, and sequels all in one go. Plus, it looks really nice on the Switch. Next up is number 5, NieR Automata. This is one of those games that's just, hey, they actually made this work on the Switch. It's a big open world game from Platinum that some people might have deemed too big for Switch. But Platinum and Square did a great job with this. It's optimized well and is just a ton of fun to slash through robots on the go. And number 6 is the obligatory Pokemon entry. Now, I had a bit of trouble deciding on which Pokemon title to put on this list between Pokemon Legends Arceus and Pokemon Generation 9 with Scarlet and Violet. I loved both of them, but I had to give this to Arceus for how hard it tried to be different. Not just in the segmented open world aspect, but completely altering the whole formula with real-time catching mechanics and how dark the story went. Legends Arceus is a great Pokemon game that changed a lot of things to make a very different sort of experience. And until Scarlet and Violet get that eventual performance patch, Arceus play is a lot smoother. Next up is number 7, something that many of you could see coming, the Portal Companion Collection. Not only is this a pair of great 3D puzzle platform games, but a phenomenal port done by Nvidia and Valve. The games run at a silky smooth 60 FPS, look gorgeous, and are an example of games that just make you wonder, am I actually looking at the Switch version right now? It almost looks too good for that. And moving on to number 8 is something that might be a little bit of a surprise. Republic Anniversary Edition. It might not have been the highest rated game of that particular month, but it was such a unique and interesting little stealth experience. I had a blast learning about the world as you lead the little survivor out of this weird totalitarian state and wonder if there actually is a world outside of those walls. And it was one of those games I almost didn't play. The publisher actually reached out to me about covering it, and I went from, sure, I'll try this game, it looks kind of neat, to, this is really cool, I am really glad I played this. Now, as we get close to the end, number 9 is one of my favorite games, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2: The Sith Lords. KOTOR 2 has a lot of importance to my gaming history. I remember being at a job back in 2012 and 2013, using my spare time to play the original KOTOR via an iPad with no button controls whatsoever. Then I played the original on PC not long after on a really old Surface Pro 2, and then got into the sequel and absolutely loved it. The whole plotline behind Vices and her character events got me going through save after save after save after save, just wanting to see more of her dialogue tree. And the inclusion of cheats on the Switch is incredibly useful, especially at launch when certain story bits would glitch up the game on you. And now, the final game on our list is another incredible port by Rebellion Games in Zombie Army 4: Dead War. The Sniper Elite people are absolute masters at Switch ports, and Zombie Army 4 was such an improvement over the trilogy. It had more everything all around with zombie numbers, stage size, story, and it still plays extremely well on the Switch despite those huge enemy numbers. Pretty much every game they've ported to the Switch has been impressive, but this is especially so. And that is my top 10 reviewed games of 2022. As I said earlier, a ton of games made the runner-up list as this year had a lot of great games come to the Switch, and that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this little video. I'll be back soon with more reviews in 2023, and as always, thank you for watching, and have a great day.